Greetings from the other side. Welcome to the second annual SPOOKTACULAR. Ha 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 ha.
You're really kicking some ass this year, Louie. You really settled on one. You said, I am Dracula.
That was better than last year.
Yes, it was. I'll give you that.
We are reporting once again. Wait a minute. This isn't the trap house. Preston, where are we?
We're in fucking Bardstown, Kentucky, in the Jailer's Inn, and it's pretty damn lit. It's a bed and breakfast. We're pretty hammered. We're gonna wake up from this night of drinking to a beautiful homemade meal tomorrow morning. What more could you ask for, folks?
So the Jailer's Inn is a 200-year-old building that is literally a converted jail.
A real haunted ass place.
It was number 5 on the list that I saw online of the most haunted places in Kentucky.
I'll take it.
Out of 10, how scared are you at this point in the episode?
It's spooky. I think it's going to get creepier later at night. I'm going to definitely go outside to like smoke a little and feel the vibe late at night here. Because it is a little spooky. We're right next to the like unconverted jail part.
Yeah.
That's like actually got historical shit. Like it's a little museum.
There's a part of the B&B where it's converted.
And that's where we are basically. Because
it's not where we are. Because this is the wing of the jail.
This is the least converted. It is still slightly altered to be a little hotel space.
Sure, because it has to be.
But the original beds definitely means that there's some shit going on in here. There's definitely a vibe in here. The fact that the door's an original metal jail door, definitely a vibe. There's a picture right next to the front door of our room that is before they converted it. And it's really not that different.
Yeah, it's really not that different. So,
and the jail cells like right next door look the same to our room.
On the list that I was talking about, it says the guests claim to hear some strange happenings here, including unexplained music, sounds of babies crying, whispering, and footsteps.
If I wake up to some whispering in our room, I'm leaving, Louie. I'm going to the car. I will sleep the rest of the night in the car.
You're not going to leave me, are you?
I will take your keys and go to the fucking car if there's some motherfucking ghost whispering in my ear in the middle of the night.
That ain't right.
Too damn bad. I'd wake you up, and if you said I don't give a fuck and go back to sleep, you're okay. Enjoy sleeping with the ghost, Louie.
So I looked up like this documentary when I was checking the place out, and there was a part where they said people claim to see shadow figures, spiritual orbs.
See, that's why I was looking in the back of the jail for a little bit, because I thought I saw something.
Hear disembodied voices, and hear strange noises in the middle of the night.
Dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the middle of the night, so let's get fucking scared.
Right before recording, I fucking heard a door slam down in the jail part. Like, I swear to God, it was not our door. It wasn't the TV that was on in here, because it was definitely coming from down in the, like, historic jail section. That is sus as fuck. Also, if I see something, I'm gonna be spooked. Louis got scared by the mannequin earlier.
A couple hours ago, we came back from the bourbon bar, and we've been a little tossed. And we stumbled back into the jail section, and we peeked around. And then we went to, like, the last cell, and I was in front because, of course, Preston's a big fucking pussycat. And I see this, like, human-shaped motherfucker, and I yelp. I'm not even gonna lie, I yelped.
Louis, I've never heard you make a sound like that before in my life, my entire time knowing you. And I swear to God, I originally thought you were fucking with me. That's why I didn't react at all. That's why I was like, are you serious?
Preston didn't react at all.
Because I just thought you were trying to fuck with me and scare me.
But it was like a mannequin dressed like prisoner, just in like black and white stripes.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, mannequins are creepy. Like, that's the same as a doll that could be possessed. Who knows? It could show up at our window.
So, Preston, he's just a little point guard today. He's doing all the facilitating. This is a real life story that just happened to me yesterday. And I've prefaced the story like this before. There is no cap in this story at all. I'm gonna be so fucking
real
serious with you guys, and this is some scary shit, okay? This is some legitimately scary shit. So yesterday, I was watching Better Call Saul with Caroline on the couch, and I looked out the window, and there's an alley behind our house, so it's where all the garbage is put out, and someone had thrown to the curb this creepy ass fucking doll, and it was kind of a big doll, not quite life size, but bigger than something that a child would carry around. Right. And it looked old and raggedy.
Could be the size of a real baby.
And it was bigger than a baby. It was
oh hell
bigger.
No.
I had kind of, you talk about the uncanny valley thing.
Yeah.
That's recognizing a humanoid
figure. And it gives you the fucking creeps.
And the same way with the mannequin.
Absolutely.
I saw the doll, and for a second I was like, oh shit. And then I realized it was a doll. It was just sitting up. It was just sitting up. And
do you think it was some random child standing in the alley for a second?
I don't know. I'm just talking a split second.
Yeah. I hear you.
But it was staring up at us. Kind of pointed at us sitting up. So that's why it looked like that. And I was just immediately like, Caroline, look at that fucking creepy ass doll that's just sitting out there. And she's just like, oh. Neither of us fuck with dolls.
Because who does? That shit's scary.
Later that night, Caroline is going to hang out with her friend. And I'm already in bed because it's 11 something. And I had to get up this morning. This morning for finance, which I almost overslept, to be honest.
Damn.
But she leaves, and I get a text from her as soon as she leaves, and she's like, oh fuck, the doll moved. And so
no.
Jackie had been at my apartment earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like, look at that creepy ass doll. And she was like, yeah, I did actually notice that before you got here, and it does look like a fucking person at first glance. And I was like, that was exactly what I fucking thought. And almost as a joke, I was like, it's because it has kind of an aura around it.
Yeah.
Kind of joke.
No, some things do though.
But yeah, I looked out the window when Caroline sent that text, and the doll had fallen down. He was, face down a little bit closer to us, and
was it it could have just fallen, or was it
it was
further?
It was it could have just fallen.
Okay.
So it's plausible, but I was a little creeped out. Yeah. And I was also a little creeped out when it was 12 o'clock and Caroline still wasn't home. So I peeked out the window again at midnight. The doll was gone.
What?
I swear to God, within that short time frame from 11 something to 12, the doll was gone.
It made its escape, Louis. Oh my God.
And to quote Kevin Gates, this is a fucked up quote, but he said, if I'm lying, may God murder my children.
That's a fucked up quote. But goddamn.
I swear, if I'm lying, murder my children today.
So,
because this is not cap, and Caroline could corroborate this story.
Yeah.
She couldn't corroborate I could, because she didn't notice that it wasn't there anymore at night. But I'm not even gonna lie, I was starting to freak out a little bit in my apartment.
Yeah. That's some paranormal shit. Moving dolls.
What's the logical explanation for that? A homeless person picked it up?
Maybe not a homeless person, but maybe somebody did pick it up.
Not trash. Trash doesn't go at 11 o'clock.
No. I just mean maybe somebody saw it and was just okay. And wanted it or is going to sell it or something like that.
That's the logical explanation.
But still that seems unlikely.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe haunted doll is more likely in my mind. Maybe that's where I fall on the rationale of the paranormal. And it's like, maybe that is more likely sometimes.
I was going to stop I did stop myself earlier when I was going to say this, but I don't really believe, or at least I didn't really believe in, like, dolls being sentient like that. I still find certain dolls creepy, but it's not like I think that they're like,
No, it's definitely an uncanny valley thing, like you were saying, where it's definitely just like, that ain't right. I don't fuck with that.
Yeah. Just slightly anthropomorphic.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. I'm dead ass, like, concerned for Caroline's safety not being there tonight. Like,
damn. The night after the haunted doll sighting.
Yeah, I'm just like, goodbye, goodbye, good luck with that shit. I'd rather take my chances here
in the haunted jail. But I mean, shit, if I see some ghost shit here, I can't believe that there's a fucking rabbit just chilling in the backyard here. That's kind of one of the craziest parts of this for me.
Yeah, there's like a courtyard that's like sealed in.
It's nice.
And we saw this rabbit earlier, but there's this like giant white rabbit that's just chilling back there.
Hopping around, digging around.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
Just doing rabbit shit. Good for him.
Yeah.
That's the life for
him.
him.
To be a rabbit at the jailer's inn.
Oh, to be a rabbit again.
But like... Okay, Louie, now I gotta ask you. Earlier, you kept stopping yourself from telling me a story about some footsteps that you heard.
So
I gotta know. Because to me, it sounds like it genuinely spooked you, too.
This is a short story, but it's definitely real. And it's kind of weird. I don't know if I blocked it out or what, but not too long ago, I think it was with my parents, actually.
Yeah.
And she said something that just triggered the memory. And I was just like, I could fucking, like, completely forgot about this shit.
Yeah?
And I forgot about this shit for the last podcast, I'm pretty sure, too.
Really?
Because this is before...
Some long ago shit?
Before... No, not some long ago shit. Before, this was the only, like, paranormal experience I had before that lake trip, which may or may not have been...
That was a little while
lake
ago.
Ghost.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we could retell that story, too. So basically, this was summer 21. It was like June, July.
Yeah.
My parents were going out for like their some milestone anniversary, so they were out of town.
Yeah.
And I got to get paid to watch the house and do basically nothing, you know, spread out, use the hot tub, you know, flex. Yeah, I was just chilling there with Caroline. And this was a little while after my parents' dog died, so there was nothing in the house. There was nobody besides me and Caroline in the house. There was nobody. Could have been. And it was like a night that me and Caroline were like fighting too about some stupid shit.
Interesting. How late was it?
It was kind of late. It was dark. It might have been like 10 o'clock. It probably wasn't that late.
Yeah.
But we were fighting, and we were kind of, you know, figuring out our shit, you know, coming to terms, you know, logical into an argument. My dad always wears, like, he always wears, like, super thick, open-toed shoes, like, in the house. Like, he either wears these thick rubber slides around the house, or he wears his chacos, and both of those, you know, have kind of a distinct, heavy sound upstairs.
Especially from a big guy.
And so that's what we hear, except obviously my parents aren't there. It sounds like somebody with like thick, heavy soles
steps.
walking upstairs. So it was unmistakable. It was absolutely
And you both heard it too.
And me and Caroline both heard it. And she looks at me like literally like scared for her life.
Spooked. As you do when you hear some scary ass shit like that. Nikki's woken up in the middle of the night. I think our apartment's a little bit haunted. Because Nikki's woken up in the middle of the night. There's nothing going on. And she's like, hey, I just heard something. Can you go check it out for me? And that totally happens.
As men, it's weird, but something just takes over you in those situations.
Yeah, it's what you gotta do. I'm half asleep, but I'm still walking up and down the hallway just to check out what's going on.
Like, I'm not gonna lie and act like, I'm anything less than a pussy. But in that situation, I was like, hey! Because we both thought it was intruders. That's how fucking real it sounded. So I was like, hey! I was literally putting on my deep voice. And I was
That's
like,
your go-to, too, which I respect.
Like, hey, who's there? And I had this, like, fake pistol, like I was saying.
Did you say BB gun earlier?
It is a BB gun, but it looks real. So
it's effective.
Something that I could hypothetically scare somebody with. So I went upstairs. Obviously, nobody there. And, like, the doors and everything are locked. So it couldn't have been somebody else.
Yeah.
It could not.
Did it sound like it was coming from upstairs? Because I know you have, like, that little basement space where you watch movies and shit.
Yeah, we were in the basement.
So it was from upstairs.
And we heard it from, like, the main floor.
Yeah.
Like, it sounded like it was right above us. It didn't sound like
Jesus.
it was. And
yeah, so really clean, really loud. It had to be if you were hearing it.
And it just kind of stopped. Like, it didn't sound like
it
ran off somewhere.
Did it stop when you said hey? Or did it stop, like...
I don't remember.
Instantly? Like, it happened and then it stopped? Because that's some real ghost shit to just, like, you'll just hear a sound for a while.
I'd say...
And then as soon as you, like, actually notice it, it just, like, stops. And I think it's a subconscious thing.
Caroline probably has a worse memory than me. Otherwise, I would say ask her. But, yeah, I don't remember.
That's honestly kind of some freaky shit, though.
Yeah.
Footsteps is some real paranormal shit, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's one of the most common paranormal experiences for a lot of people is just, like, unexplainable sounds. Some shadow figures and shit like that are a little more complex, Orbs.
I'm not even gonna lie. I'm ready for the second half of this show where we're not talking about this real life shit, because I'm honestly kind of freaking myself out right now.
I keep seeing shit out there. I'm not gonna lie.
You don't see anything. How would you see shit?
You see the little, like, window space?
That's not a window, bro. You can't see through that.
I'm just saying.
It's blacked out, boy. You literally can't see through it. Okay, let's stop scaring ourselves.
So what we gotta talk about now?
I'll tell that lake story real quick for
just a little recap. Yeah.
Heard it. This is a short story too, so if you've already heard this, just skip ahead like a minute or whatever. But we were at Caroline's uncle's lake house, and it's on this lake in Indiana. Beautiful, what looks like a man-made lake. And there's like this area that they call the beach, which is just like an area where it has a bunch of sand, and it's by like a bunch of boats. Like
you can actually like walk in and swim and shit.
Yeah.
It's not too deep.
And so like we're there with our shorties, and there's like a platform, like a water platform, like maybe like, how far do you think that was out? Like 20 feet?
Maybe a little more, but it seemed kind of far out from the shore. But it was a good little swim.
It's a lake, so it wasn't super deep.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were out there chilling on the platform, and me and Preston were just drinking on the shore.
Yeah.
On the beach.
As you do.
All of a sudden, I'm staring out in a haze, and I just see Caroline and Nikki both getting off the platform and starting to swim towards us. And then I see this old lady with like a big fucking white hat.
Yeah, that's the part that's so strange to me. And I'm blind as shit, but I still saw this figure with a hat on.
Right.
And to me, that is some real ghost shit to just be like this sort of vague figure.
And she came from like what looked like the middle of the lake. It didn't look like
she didn't come from the beach, because we were on the beach for a while and we didn't see anybody swim out there. And that's the closest part of the shoreline to the little thing.
So yeah, we might have made eye contact, but she didn't say anything to anybody, and we just assumed that better safe than sorry that she might have been like a narc.
As the people in that sort of man-made living on the lake environment might be, Karens and whatnot.
Yeah, like we've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to bring up this segment we are not sponsored by Shudder, but Shudder has a bunch of great horror movies, and like a lot of bad horror movies are on Netflix and Hulu and all that shit.
There are a lot of bad horror movies out there anyway.
So if you all want to watch some good horror movies, if you all are watching this right before Halloween, if you want to get into the Halloween spirit, let me help you out for a second. I am going to tell you all about my journey on Shudder. So here's a little cheat code for you guys. If you type in the promo code HELL, you get a whole month free. Otherwise, you get a 1 week free trial. Which obviously, you know, how much can you watch in a week? Maybe like 2 movies max. That's the way I am. I don't watch a movie like every night. But I did a ranking of these movies that I saw. So one of the ones that I saw recently was the first and last Shudder original that I'm gonna watch. You know how Netflix has like original shows, Shudder has its own original movies and shit.
Were they good?
It was called Deadstream, and it was like this YouTuber that got canceled.
No.
And he was like live streaming being in a haunted house, and I thought it was mildly entertaining just as far as it's what we're doing. That was the only enjoyment I found out of it.
Yeah, I hear you.
So yeah, that movie was terrible, and like I said, that was the last time I'm gonna watch a Shudder original. But I saw a movie called Slumber Party Massacre, which in my opinion was just like a shitty knockoff of like Halloween. Like, we just watched Halloween
and it's fire.
And it's a classic in multiple ways.
Absolutely.
Especially in the way that it's like influenced shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's influenced a lot of other.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Even the fucking little piano bit, the creepy little fucking piano bit from that. Yeah. He's in a bunch of different shit. It's a pop culture thing at that point.
So the next movie I watched, and this is a movie that I wasn't that into, but I feel like if I was, I feel like other people would enjoy it more than I did.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't into it at the time for whatever reason. I just wasn't, like, feeling it. But this movie's called Uninvited, and it's about, like, a cat that, like, turns into a monster that escapes from, like, a government facility.
What the fuck?
And there's, like...
What?
There's, like, this rich dude who is trying to take these young, impressionable girls out on his yacht. And...
What the fuck are you talking about?
And the cat gets on the yacht with them, and the cat, like, fucks everybody up. Keeps turning into a monster and fucking people up. And the cat eventually sinks the boat.
Cat.
But yeah, that's one that if you want like a stupid movie to watch that's fun,
that sounds
watch
dumb as
that one.
Fuck. Oh my god.
Okay, so the last 3, this is the territory of like, okay, these are actually like good movies.
Like actually scary.
So I watched an anime horror thing called Perfect Blue.
That's kind of lit.
So
that's a little different.
It was really like a psychological...
I like that kind of shit, though. I said on the last Halloween episode that The Shining is one of my favorite horror movies, and I like psychological thrillers. It's definitely... I don't have many phobias. You can't get me with cheap tricks, and I don't like shit that has jump scares and relies only on jump scares.
But yeah.
I like shit that actually scares me and makes me leave the movie feeling creeped the fuck out.
And this movie will do that because it's about like a famous like musician turned movie star.
Interesting.
And she has this like stalker who keeps like posting like her inner thoughts online.
One of the
fucks with her.
It's the same reason.
She starts losing her mind, and she has like a version of herself from like her past who keeps telling her that she's not the real version of her, that she's deviated from herself. And there are some moments in there where it's really some like Matrix type shit.
Yeah.
Because there are some points where like you can't even tell like if it's real or not at points.
If it's actually what's happening in the plot, or if it's just like this illusion that's supposed to be part of the horror aspect.
It had a very like tangible ending, though. It wasn't just like
I like
complete nonsense, because I feel like sometimes when it's nonsense, it's not as good.
A lot of good horror shit, even like sci-fi horror and shit like that, that relies on the idea of being replaced by this it monster thing. Mm-hmm. That's totally a spooky thought. Just imagine the idea of your loved ones and like your friends being replaced with this monster, and you could not know it, and they could get you at any minute.
Body snatchers.
That's fucked up. Inherently fucked up. But like, it's the same with like what's that one? There's that one where it's like the end of the fucking world, and it's like they go back to their small town for a drinking challenge where they go to a bunch of different local taverns, and they come to find out that there's this grand conspiracy where it's like this alien robot entity has taken over the town and been replacing everybody, and it turns out that they've replaced a significant portion of the population. And so when they end up defeating this entity, it causes the collapse of humanity as we know it, because everybody's been snatched. Everybody's been snatched. The official sponsor of the Highly Suspicious podcast, Rehab is for quitters.
I'd like to make a note of the creepy etchings that have been in the wall.
It really is creepy. The ones in the jail spooked me.
But in our jail cell, it has 18 written on the wall, and it's October 18th.
Do you think it's somebody that was here for like 18 years, or
wouldn't that be like the tick marks or whatever, the tally marks then?
Maybe they were marking it as like a significant date. I don't know.
I would hope not. So,
there's also the fucking weird heart carved into the shower.
True.
And it's got something going through it, which is kind of weird. Weird symbology. But also the little message in the old jail cells talking about somebody being a rat to the pigs. That's some spooky shit. That's some motherfucker was in that cell and was writing their fuck this guy who ratted me out.
Yeah, that's not why I'm concerned, because I'm not a fucking rat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Louis, people who stayed in this jail, who were put in this jail, were hung.
It's fucked up.
It's fucked up. It's crazy. Motherfuckers who were here did get executioned, like, right out front. The thing that you fucking posed on. Wild.
They did Brud dirty. You know, free the guys.
Free the guys. We're just a couple of criminals ourselves, if we're being honest.
Another one that I really liked was called Dark Night of the Scarecrow. And
Scarecrows are spooky.
Scarecrows are spooky. That's something that intrigued me, because I haven't really seen like a scarecrow-centric movie like that. Mm-hmm. But basically,
it is unique.
The town, like, special person, you know, it's like a small town, and he's like
town special person.
Every town has one person that's different than the rest, and they get discriminated against, and that's unfortunate.
Do you mean the local Forrest Gump? Something like that? Oh my god.
The local Forrest Gump, he likes to hang out with this, like, little girl.
Oh no!
And the little girl, when they're hanging out, she goes into, like, someone's yard, and this big-ass dog, like, fucks her up.
Oh my god.
And so, this guy, Bubba,
No! His name is not...
He brings the little girl back to her family, and he's just like, Bubba didn't do it. You don't understand. Bubba didn't do it. But obviously they don't listen, and basically a mob with, like, everything short of, like, pitchforks and torches fucking, hunt him down, and then he goes to his mom's house, and he hides in a scarecrow, and they kill him in the scarecrow. And
what the fuck?
And then he basically comes back as like a ghost scarecrow and fucking hunts them down. It's a sleeper. It's a very satisfying.
That's kind of wild.
Horror movie. It's pretty sick.
I like that concept.
I like a revenge story like that.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't?
I love horror movies where people that
honestly at that point, fuck it, I'm rooting for the villain.
Absolutely,
get him. There's some prejudiced motherfuckers.
So here's the crown jewel of my list, and if y'all get nothing else out of this, get this movie out of this. This movie's called Soul Survivor.
Okay.
And it's about a lady who survives a plane crash.
Ooh, modern concept.
And she's the only survivor.
Yeah.
And she finds out about, like, how victims of, like, a tragedy like that usually feel like survivor's remorse. Yeah. And a lot of them die within, like, a year of shit like that happening. And basically the concept is, like, she was supposed to die, but she was just, like, a glitch in the system. So basically
shit.
these people come back from the dead and
to take her back.
And they come and get her. It's an absolutely insane movie.
That sounds almost too scary for me. I'm not gonna lie. That's entering the realm of, like...
It's dead-ass scary. Like, it dead-ass scared me. Like, I was dead-ass holding Carol.
When you're in the blankets where you're like, I need to be safe. I get you. I understand.
It was definitely scary. But it was also, like, it had quality as a movie. Like, I like the characters and stuff, too. But, good. Yeah, that is a super underrated pick that I've never fucking heard. I've never seen. I've never heard anything about that movie.
You know when that shit came out?
It was like the 80s.
Wild.
There are a lot of hidden gems in the 80s that have just been forgotten about for whatever.
That's lit. That's awesome. I love finding a good hidden gem too. Yeah. I like seeing a good movie I haven't seen before. I've been trying to do that more often where I'm just like, I don't need to play video games. I can wait on whatever series I'm binging. I'm in the mood for a movie. Let's see what I can find. And sometimes you do find some good shit. And it's satisfying to watch a good movie. I love watching a good little story like that.
It's satisfying watching a good movie, but it's satisfying even more watching like one of those hidden gem type of movies where it's just like...
It's different if you have no idea what you're going into. It makes you more open-minded to like the plot itself.
Like, Omega Man's one of those movies where I walked into it knowing fucking dick about
Absolutely nothing.
And I was just blown away by it because, you know, when your expectations are nothing, then it's pretty easy to be blown away.
Yeah.
As opposed to having a horror movie where it's like everyone telling you, this movie's fucking great. And then you go and see it and you're just like,
it was underwhelming.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was fine.
I feel like that the genre itself, like horror movies, can be pretty niche. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's a hard thing to actually hit in, you know? Yeah. Like, it has to meet a lot of criteria to be a good horror movie, and not everybody's taste in the horror genre is the same. Some people are about, like, the jump scares and the eerie vibes and shit like that, and some people just want a classic horror movie. Some people only watch old horror movies when it's like the time of year for it, and like I'm kind of in that category, where I like the classic shit. Me too. I'm not gonna watch too much unless it's just something that I know is good. Yeah, you know, and I'm like,
you should watch that movie.
I'm also more of like a sci-fi horror kind of guy. Sometimes that shit's the most spooky to me because it's the stuff that fucks with me the most. Where I'm just like, God damn, what if that did happen? Fucking Close Encounters and shit like that fucks with me. My uncle was telling me a story about how he was watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind around when it came out with somebody. It wasn't around the 4th of July or anything like that, but somebody started doing fireworks while they were watching it, and it was like the peak where like motherfuckers are getting abducted and shit, and
they got scared.
That shit went off right outside the window. They both like physically jumped hearing that shit, and I know I do the same. That shit not cool. Alien abduction shit horrifying.
Yeah.
Especially since I have had like some sleep paralysis experiences, and that's definitely some abduction shit. Where you're just like, I'm paralyzed, and there's this weird ass fucking figure at the end of my bed. Hell no. Hell to the fucking no. Shadowy figures and shit like that. If I went out there later and I saw a shadow man,
well, don't go out.
Too damn bad.
Don't go out there then. That's the trick. We're safe in
here. We're locked in.
We're locked in. We're really... You ready for this song?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do our intermission. Cool off since we've spooked ourselves enough.
Inside. Lose the lights in the hallways, everyone gon' be fine. Phone that no one should call starts to ring at one time. All the homies' eyes slide to it, then the wall split from the outside. The air rushes in, it's cold as fuck. Bullets slapping like hell. More homies struck down, the mission has failed. The wood is split, splintered chandelier falls and smashes hard. Glass and steel everywhere, and every throat screams in protest. You all are dying, and really will anyone care? Truth like death comes for everyone. Barely had to summon what was coming. It was creeping on the come up that was right up in your face. Face it, let it resonate up in your bone a minute. When you shiver, make us live a big enough for it to have the space. Ripped, life, slipping away. Maybe you can make it out with just a little bit of grace, but it truly doesn't give a fuck about the fear you feeling. It is here to make you understand that nothing is safe. Nothing is safe. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is safe. Nothing to pray for. Nothing is safe. Nothing is...
No way. October 18th, 2019. That's when that album came out.
That's another fucking sign, Louis. What is up with the 18th of October?
I don't know. I'm not much of a numerology guy, so I don't know.
Me either.
You just listened to Nothing Is Safe by Clipping. So, Preston asked who the fuck this guy is.
Yeah, who the fuck is this Clipping guy?
This is a very interesting thing about this guy. Clipping is a group between a producer, I forget the name of, and this rapper, David Diggs. And for anyone who thinks that name might be familiar, he played Thomas Jefferson in Hamilton.
Really?
In like a Broadway show.
That's lit.
So I just think it's very interesting, like the very safe Hamilton contrasted by, something so dark.
I think a lot of the people who are into musicals are real music heads, Yeah,
they have to be.
Absolutely. It's the peak form. It's really just like live music like that, where there's like choreography involved and it's all performance. It's on a different level, It's the same as like live music. Anybody who's a good performer that you go and see and it's a great show, they're on the same level. It's all about putting on a good show, having a good time with the crowd. So it's all about acting in that way.
We'll start with you. What are your general thoughts? This is the first listen for you, so tell me how you feel about it, how it sounded, I don't know.
I like it. It's a good vibe. I totally get why you were saving it for this special episode.
It's very Halloween-y.
It is kind of Halloween-y. It's definitely got this like eerie kind of message, and the beat itself is definitely like kind of weird in that like spooky, like in sci-fi like scary movies they have those weird like sounds.
Absolutely.
It's kind of got that vibe going on where I don't know what the instrument is, but it's got this like consistent beat and this weird little like bit going on.
You're taking words right out of my mouth because I totally agree, bro.
It's just a specific kind of vibe too.
It's totally inspired by like old school horror, and it's definitely inspired by like John Carpenter's like musical style. Like we were just talking about Halloween. This song is very inspired by Halloween.
Totally got that vibe. Yeah.
With the piano for one, but also like the messaging of like nothing is safe. That's kind of the messaging of, And
the fact that that's just the name of the song.
Yeah.
And that's also like a horror thing where it's like anything is scary, where it's just like nothing is out of bounds. No place is safe. One of the most like scary ideas in the horror genre to me is that like no matter where you go, there's no escaping whatever the monster is, whatever the entity is that is after you. And that is like truly horrifying to not be able to escape something like that, to have something be inevitable.
So this might be skipping ahead, but I think that what he's talking about in general, he's talking about like death.
Absolutely.
As, like, a concept.
And I think genuinely in the horror genre itself, the idea of this inescapable thing is all correlated to death. It's just like, it's the same reason that it is like the killer that you can't get away from. They keep stalking you.
Yeah.
Hunting you. basically.
Totally. You probably didn't catch any of this story on first listen, which I totally get. It's a lot of words. I didn't get
was more
story
caught up in the beat and the rhythm. And that's most people on the first listen of any song.
That's how I do first listens. I just, you
vibe with it.
Does it sound good on a very surface level? But the story he's telling, the picture he's painting is fucking dope as shit. And that's similar to that Christine song. Just like, one, the imagery, and two, like, not quite understanding what he's saying, what he's trying to say, because some people like storytelling and rap more than me, but sometimes I find storytelling songs not that good, just because if you've heard some storytelling songs, you hear the story once and you've heard it 1,000 times.
Right. It's repetitive. It's the genre. A lot of them are kind of similar.
But when it's done like this, where you can pull shit out every time, that makes it new every time. So I'm going to read some of the lyrics. It starts with the ironic contrast. Everyone's safe and sound. Famous last words. This how family do. Only homies around. Everyone here is crew. Something foul in the air. Something feeling askew.
Those are good bars, honestly. I like when you rhyme stuff that I'm not going to expect. Yeah.
I like just like the original creepy atmosphere that you're getting just from those lyrics and the, horror inspired beat. And then he's painting this picture.
The beat really adds to the atmosphere of the song too.
He's painting the picture basically of like a trap house. He's saying windows boarded and sealed, doors bolted and locked.
Yeah.
Product cooking on pace, weaponry fully stocked, bodies sleeping in shifts, other bodies keep watch. Bullets are here for anybody caught running up in the spot. And so that's doing a lot.
That is good imagery.
Imagery, right? And from this point on, just shit hits a fan, because he said, drop the lights, so drop low. Something shot from the trees, went straight from the front door. Homie dropped to his knees, blood seeping from his neck as he struggled to breathe.
So, Louis, I gotta say, honestly, I think part of the horror sound of the music is to correlate this idea of the feds being like this inescapable, horrific entity, and it's just like replacing it with the villain from a movie, horror movie, and like on some real shit, that I totally get that. That's that paranoia of if you're up to something, you're worried about somebody always being out to get you.
Yeah. Totally.
And it can feel inescapable. That's a society that we're in, where it's just like there's surveillance everywhere, dude.
That's what's sick about this song too. Like,
it's
a lot of great
relatable.
horror,
I get it.
It's something that could happen. It's somebody
is always watching you.
But it's just made in like a horror form. It's twisted to be like.
It's a good way to portray it, though. It's an original way to portray it.
The chorus is where he's kind of talking about death, because he said, didn't know when summon what was coming, but it was creeping on a come up, and now it's right up in your face. Face it, let it resonate up into your bone a minute. When you shiver, make a sliver big enough for it to have a space. Rip life slipping away. Maybe you could make it out with just a little bit of grace. But it truly doesn't give a fuck about the fear that you feeling. It makes you understand that nothing is safe. So, yeah, all that's
and making the point of nothing is safe, though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And more like specifically, said, no one is safe.
I'm going to read a little bit of the second verse. I'm not going to read the whole song, but...
a couple of good points in there, though.
Yeah. Cut the lights and stay low. All is quiet and still. Peering through the window, staring over the field. Scent of death in the air. Nothing out there looks real. Close up the homie's eyes. Now is not the time to be feeling. Really load up. Lose the lights in the hallway. Everyone's going to be fine. They're trying to rationalize
this dude
saying that death isn't going to come for them.
Do you know if this dude's in some real gang shit?
I don't know.
Or has ever been? Is their music generally in that kind of field where, like, some rappers are real fucking gangsters? It's part of it.
This is kind of his style. It's very dark. He's talking a lot about, like, death and shit.
So maybe he has seen some shit.
So yeah.
Maybe this is some personal experience, and he's talking about what it's like to be hiding from the fucking narcs, you know? From the fucking feds and the motherfuckers who are out to get you. And I think some rappers are really out there trying to tell their stories where they have experienced some shit. Mm-hmm. You know? It's a fucking war out there. Sometimes. There was a real war on drugs. It's still sort of going on, even though drugs have won.
Yeah.
But, like, some motherfuckers have been through some shit because of it. And I'm sure if it's like most wars, some of them have PTSD.
Yeah.
You know? If you're a fucking artist and you've been through some shit, maybe it's best for your mental health that you express what you went through. So maybe this is some real shit.
I think...
Maybe they felt like they were being haunted.
This is the imagery that I'd compare most to Billy Woods when he says, phone that no one should call starts ringing one time.
Hell no.
I really like that because that could mean like a lot of different things. The way I take it is that they have like a emergency phone that nobody's supposed to have access to outside of them, but clearly someone has access to it. So
that's trap phone.
That's kind of the moment where they're like,
they've tapped
shit.
my extra phone.
Yeah, these aren't regular motherfuckers.
Yeah,
you know?
Which means you're really if they got your phone, bro.
But yeah, the air rushes in. It's cold as fuck. Bullets slapping like hail. More homies struck down.
Yeah, and like seeing your friends die in front of you and shit like that.
That's imagery that I can think about death too. Like when the first homie dies, you know, everybody's surprised and they all still don't think that it's going to happen to them. You know, they're like, damn, that was tragic what happened to bro, but we're still going to be fine if we just, you know.
It's also this idea of being invincible. A lot of people end up having that experience. Yeah. And it's like if you get away with shit for so long, you do get this feeling that you can keep getting away with whatever. It's a very slippery slope.
You're all dying, and will anyone ever care? Truth like death comes for everyone. In a rap song, it's hard. Out loud, it's poetic.
Yeah.
And I think that's an underrated aspect of music, poetry.
Rap is poetry anyway, if we're being honest.
That's why I don't get why some people just don't care about lyrics at all, and it's all about sonics. Like, can you not get something out of lyrics? Like, can't it be both?
Well, and that's the beauty of rap to me is if the flow is crazy, they can be spitting some fucking bars, telling it how it is, and it is just like this amazing thing to experience and like hear. But also, they're really saying some shit. Mm-hmm. They're really saying how they feel, getting some shit out there.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier when we were talking off the pod. I was saying I love artists who break away from the industry and just say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
They call motherfuckers out. Because that's a great thing.
And that's some of the first music that came out after he did Hamilton. So that kind of shows, like...
Yeah.
He was just showing, like, yeah, I'm not going to be...
He's real. He's unfiltered.
Yeah, you're not going to... The industry's not going to tame me.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to make me less weird.
Because that's not popular shit to be talking about.
Nah.
It's not accessible.
No, it's not.
But if you appreciate music and you, like, just want to hear people's story, you're about that shit.
Clipping is, especially their newer music, is heavily inspired by a bunch of, like, classic horror. And there are some
That's kind of crazy.
There are some, like, individual songs that are like, influenced by a specific horror movie. Like, there's one song that they made where they talk about, like, it's like from the perspective of, like, the Blair Witch.
What the fuck does that... What? I can't even imagine what that song sounds like.
Fucked up is what it sounds like.
I am sure.
Alright.
It's kind of lit, though.
So, yeah, good song.
Great song. I'm not gonna ever have you play me a song and not be open-minded to it. I feel like we're both like that, where we're open to most things, unless you played me some shit that's just too weird.
Which I have.
You have, but even then, I'm like, I see where you're coming from. You know?
Yeah.
Because it is just everybody's personal taste anyway. I'm not going to ever call somebody out for their music taste. I don't think some music's great, and there are definitely some motherfuckers who are out here, like, acting like shit I don't think is great is amazing. but I'm never gonna shit on someone for it. That's personal. I know I listen to music that not everybody is gonna like. I'm cool with that. I had seen this bit on Instagram, and their whole bit is that they talk about cryptids that used to be like mythological creatures and now are confirmed species.
Yeah,
which is pretty wild to think about. And even like
proving the haters wrong.
Even unicorns and shit like that, there is some evidence to suggest that there were like goats that were fucked up and motherfuckers just called them unicorns, or like rhinos were unicorns at one point to some Europeans who went down there, or like the Romans who went down into Africa.
That'd be pretty harsh unicorn, man.
Pretty wild.
Unicorn that could fucking squash you with a foot.
That could fuck you up. But like one of the stories that I heard, which I thought was pretty crazy to think about, is they were talking about Australia at one point really was this like mysterious land. It's a huge island and
a lot of critters.
A lot of crazy ass animals, because most of the creatures, a lot of fucking bugs, a lot of fucking reptiles, and most of the creatures there really are like incredibly different to anything else because they're all marsupials instead of mammals, which means they're entirely different genus than anything in Europe or Americas. Mm-hmm. So like the platypus, which is an incredibly strange animal, was originally described as this river mermaid that lived in the rivers of Australia that these like original adventurers and explorers encountered, because they had it's either that their explanations were just so shitty that it sounds like they're talking about a human being swimming through these rivers, or they just only saw it at a distance. I mean, I guess if you are an animal that's never encountered human beings, you really are going to be like keeping your distance. Uh-huh. So from a distance, maybe they did look like they could be these weird humanoids.
Yeah.
That could hold their breath forever and swim around and shit like that. But river mermaids is such a niche description, you know? And even like the kraken, giant squid are huge. Back in the day, if you had no logical explanation for that, you're just like, God damn, that's a monster. An actual fucking monster.
It still looks like a monster today, for real.
For real. And I would classify it as a monster. There's some shit in the ocean that's fucking scary.
Imagine one of them motherfuckers getting your boat.
Oh, God. But even, like, Bigfoot and shit like that, I'm at the end of the spectrum where I genuinely can't say that there isn't some Yeti living in the Himalayas. That's a unpopulated part of the world. There could totally be some creature living there. Like, same for, like, the Great White North of fucking Canada. The indigenous tribes there see hella Bigfoot sightings. Statistically, the sightings within the indigenous community that actually lives in the forest of northern Canada, where nobody fucking else lives, are higher than in the general population. And yeah, they might be more open-minded to it, but it also goes back generations where they're not talking about some spirit. They're talking about a real Bigfoot-ass fucking ape-man creature. I'm not going to say that all those people are wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Could be that there's something out there. I haven't seen it. I can't say that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that's a way that we're more close-minded now, where if there's not like 100% proof of it, then it just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But
the world's a big place.
Really, just because we have cell phones doesn't mean that we know everything that fucking
exactly. Exists. And I do feel like a lot of people in the age of the internet really are like, I read this thing that tells me no. And I've never experienced anything like that, so no. And, like, my mindset is totally, if you've never experienced anything like that, how can you say no? If you've never been there, how can you just definitively say, that shit isn't real, that doesn't exist? It's the same with aliens, where it's like, you think that you're special enough to have ever had a close encounter? And I don't even think that they're little gray men. It's just like, it's a big universe. There could be something out there.
Perfect transition. Basically, the purpose of all that, even though cryptids might seem like kind of a stupid thing, there's a world where some of this shit actually exists.
I mean, even if it does seem dumb to you, the implications of, like,
the world is strange.
Us not... Right. The world being crazier than you might actually think. If you've actually experienced something with aliens or ghosts or cryptids,
Yeah.
your worldview has changed forever.
Yeah.
If you've ever personally seen or experienced anything like that, you're in a subcategory of the population because you can't just go up to anybody and start talking about that shit.
Right.
They'll think you're crazy.
So,
That's just how it is.
speaking of aliens, Preston, do you know where the idea of aliens being little green men came from?
No.
It
I thought it was
came-
some old comic book type shit, to be honest.
The idea originally came from the 50s with a incident called the Hopkinsville Goblins.
Like, genuinely? The first description of little green men like that?
Mm-hmm.
Lit. And that's
So-
in Kentucky, right?
So that's what we're going to be talking about. Kentucky cryptids today.
Cool.
This is a really crazy story. So, basically, there's this household in Hawkinsville that had 11 motherfuckers in it. Not one, not two, 11 people. 8 of them were adults, and 3 of them were kids.
That's a lot of people.
And they were playing cards one Sunday evening.
Uh-huh.
And it was humid as shit, and it was one of their responsibilities to go get some water. One of them had to go outside and, like, pump some water.
Yeah, go to the well or whatever.
So, as he's out there, he sees flying object in the sky that was making all these, like, different colors in the sky. He's watching it,
So straight up UFO.
and he watches it crash, like, not too far away.
Mm.
And he kind of sees, like, the ravine, like, glowing green in the distance. And he goes back inside, and he's telling his people about it. And they're kind of making fun of him, you know, because they think that he just saw, like, a meteor and was
Yeah.
scaring himself.
He's on some crackpot shit.
And so, I don't remember why, but then they went back outside.
Yeah.
They didn't investigate it originally, but they
They just went outside.
And they saw the first encounter of, like, a little green man. And it's supposed to have, like, they describe it as, like, a goblin, for real.
Yeah.
They describe it as having, like, pointy ears, like, eyes on the side of his head, like, literally, like, being, like, bioluminescent. Like,
Little
glowing.
reptilian motherfuckers.
They also say that he was, like, floating off of the ground. So
I've heard about the Hopkinsville monsters before, and I heard about them being on, like, the roofs. There being a lot of them, which is fucked up. A lot of aliens. No thank you. I don't fuck with that shit.
So then these 2 men go inside, and the matriarch of the household, who's this very Christian woman, doesn't believe in, you know, superstitious shit like that.
Yeah.
And also, side note, doesn't allow any alcohol in her house. So these motherfuckers weren't drunk. They weren't, you know, fucked up.
Yeah.
So she was making fun of them.
They're like, you're sober and you're
But-
talking about this shit?
But these 2 men, they ran back inside, and they're packing their guns, and
Yeah.
and,
As you do back in the day.
and they're acting like they think that they're just doing it to, like, scare their wives or whatever. And then out the door, the matriarch gets a good look of the little green man. And so, from point blank range, this one dude pulls up with a shotgun, and he, like, shoots it in the fucking face, and it makes, like, a loud metallic sound, and it, like,
shit.
knocks him over, but his ass gets back up, and he, like, runs into the woods.
They had a force field or something like that. That's
And-
wild.
And so they run back in the house, and at this point, a good amount of the family has seen these goblins.
Little green men, yeah.
And so they're inside, you know, trying to rationalize this to themselves, because they're like, what the fuck is going on? They're trying to rationalize it in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, because shit's crazy.
And then, literally, like, at the window, a little green man is peeking in through the window. And so they fucking get up and they shoot it through the window, shattering the glass. And what went on after that was a gunfight with these aliens that lasted for hours as they've been, like, you know,
holy shit,
getting on the roof and shit and fucking with them. And really just fucking with them because they
That's
were,
an
like,
alien invasion, bro.
like a full-on, like, assault, bro. I saw something that said over 200 rounds were used by, like, the family. They used 200 rounds.
Oh my god.
And everyone, all 11 people, fucking 8 adults, 3 children.
The children were fighting for their lives.
After this, they swear to God that this shit happened. And they were so spooked that they went to the police.
Yeah.
And the police,
But you gotta know you're gonna sound crazy. So to be desperate enough to go to the police means you're willing to sound crazy.
And the sheriff said that, like, you know, they took it kind of serious because...
It could be a mass hysteria thing, but that's like an easy write-off for a lot of mass encounters like that, you know?
But yeah, like, the sheriff took them kind of serious, and they brought some guards and shit out to check the place out.
Yeah.
And they didn't find anything, obviously. They found, like, glowing mushrooms in the forest, and that's what they blamed, like, the green glow on. And their story is that they were, like, attacked by owls. As if they didn't know what the fuck owls look like.
Yeah,
and if you
not
were shooting,
little green men with pointy ears.
If you were shooting owls,
that's for damn sure.
There would be feathers of blood everywhere, but there was no trace of anything. Except for, you know, how the house was fucked up.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, yeah, it's a freaky story that was just kind of written off by everybody at the time. But I think it's kind of hard
to... A wild kind of story.
It's kind of hard to write off that it was just 11 people fucking hallucinating. That's hard to believe that they were just spraying at nothing, you know?
Yeah, just firing at fucking absolutely nothing.
Just at the air, just hallucinating.
That's fucked up.
But one of the children grew up and she's the only one in the family that would, like, openly talk about it, and she said that, like, that's why she did it, because nobody else wanted to talk about it. And she says that when her dad tells that story, like, it's not like an amusing anecdote.
It's
for
like,
him.
This was fucked up and it happened to me.
Yeah, she says that he, like, turns pale and shit while he tells it, so they think that they saw something.
That's kind of fucked. That don't sit right with me. I feel like at a certain point, it's like why would somebody be lying about this, you know?
Yeah.
There's nothing to gain about saying you had this horrible experience with this unknown entity.
It's not like they, you know, immediately, like, wrote a book right after it. It's not like they were doing it for publicity or something, which a lot of people do. But yeah, one interesting theory I saw about that is that a lot of these cryptid sightings relate to, like, where there's a lot of, like, cave entrances, and that kind of scares me. Like, if there's, like,
portals, you know,
and or, like, deep underground, like, military bases, and it's just, like, shit getting loose.
Oh, know? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's kind of wild, too. I hear
like,
you. Mothman.
Because, like, this is kind of in the same area as Mothman.
I get what you're saying.
Eastern Kentucky and, like, that West Virginia area where a lot of shit goes down.
Yeah, where it's the boonies and anything can happen. I mean, shit, if I learned anything from Gravity Falls, all the spooky shit happens in small towns.
So, there was a lot more cryptids in Kentucky than I gave it credit for.
Yeah. We have like our own variant of Bigfoot here and shit like that.
So, I was just gonna get to that.
Yeah?
These are the stupid cryptids I saw, and I don't have much to say about these. But there's been sightings in Kentucky of a sheep squatch. There has been sightings in Kentucky of something called a bear-illa.
No, what? So, okay, wait.
And
is that head of bear, body of gorilla? Or body of bear, head of gorilla?
The gorilla, it's supposed to be part bear, part gorilla, but I imagine the description of
I imagine head of bear, body of gorilla being the most horrifying.
The description of it was kind of stupid, but yeah, sheep squatch is part sheep, part Sasquatch. Try to imagine what that looks like. I don't think you can, and that's part of the reason why I don't think that it takes off, because it's like you can't even fucking visualize it. How
It's just some drunk motherfucker saw Sasquatch and was like, yo, it's a sheep squatch.
That Yeti's looking a little sheepish today. There's also something called, speaking of things that are hard to wrap your head around, sighting of something called giraffe possums. Preston, I swear to God, I could not make this shit up.
Where? Where?
I'm gonna post the article that I was looking at in the description, because I'm gonna read a lot of this shit, because this is fucking gold. So this is about the giraffe possum. The first official reported sighting was in rural Clark County in 1975. A driver reported possibly seeing 3 creatures in a field about 100 yards away off of Highway 60 between Winchester and Lexington.
Oh my God.
They described them as being the size of a large dog with gray, short, bristly hair with a long snout and fangs. That's funny as hell.
How's that relate to a giraffe?
I don't know. They had a long neck.
Oh my God.
This one is even funnier, bro.
Yeah.
I promise you. There was something in Kentucky called a meat shower.
Wait. Yes.
You've heard of this?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, where it rains meat from the sky.
So this is something that happened in Kentucky in March 1876.
It's also rained fish and frogs in certain places. It happens.
But it was raining like meat. Like parts of flesh. So
unidentified meat.
It says it rained down from the sky in Bath County, and it says, this is why I want to read this article.
Just imagine if that happened to you.
This shit is written beautifully. 2 brave men who were surely the scientists of their time.
Oh my God.
Tasted the meat that fell from the sky and reported that it was, quote, either mutton or venison.
What the fuck?
So apparently this happened when
it had a gamey taste to it.
So they said that this apparently happened while there wasn't a cloud in the sky for real.
That's weird.
So the explanation that people have is it's like vulture vomit flying through the sky. And I hope that's not true.
That's gross as fuck.
For the sake of those 2 dudes.
Right.
I would rather not dwell on that any longer than I have to.
Oh, Lord.
That's kind of scary. Like, if that's kind of like some Jordan Peele Nope shit. Fucking flying meat.
Meat falling from the sky, unidentified meat. Ew. I don't know how I'd react in that situation if I was outside and there's just flesh falling from the sky.
I'll tell you how I wouldn't react.
Eat it.
I would not eat it.
Honestly, yeah. Those are bad instincts.
Preston, those were the funniest ones, but you are not ready for some of the shit that I have in store. So, the next Kentucky cryptid that I'm going to talk about is called the Milton Lizard. So, also known as the creature of Cannet Creek, is a cryptid that is of the giant lizard variety.
I didn't know that was a variety of cryptid.
It was first spotted in a salvage yard in Trimble County in the summer of 1975. A witness who was quoted in a book states that they were looking through salvage in the yard when they saw a large lizard emerge from the wrecked vehicles. The witness described the lizard as 12 feet long with huge bulging eyes similar to a frog. Beneath the lizard's mouth was an off-white color, and black and white stripes all the way down his body. So
Bro, that's not natural.
yeah, that shit's fucked up.
That ain't any sort of animal that I know of, bro.
I don't think I believe in that, but just imagine seeing a 12-foot long lizard just when you're outside.
That's not a Komodo dragon. Black and white stripes ain't a Komodo dragon that got loose. I thought the white foam at the mouth, that might be their like poisonous saliva that they have. But that shit's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
you know what's
Komodo dragon doesn't get 12 feet long.
You know what's
either.
a crazy cryptid that I've heard about? It's on the one show on like History Channel, quote unquote History Channel, where they like hunt the cryptids. And there's one where it's like
Bigfoot
these
hunting.
hellhounds
Oh shit.
that are in West Virginia or some shit like that, because there's a lot of cryptids in West Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And that episode's actually kind of crazy, because one of the motherfuckers gets got by it, apparently. Like, has an encounter with it and gets knocked over by this cryptid when they're about to shoot it. And you, like, hear them shoot it on the video. And they got a little fucked up. So they either took an L and just fell into the ditch, or, like, they ran into something out there.
You know, they sometimes do shit for
I know.
comedic value.
I do shit for the content. I get it.
So, here's another one that I thought is crazy. The Harrington Lake Monster, also known as Harry or quote-unquote eel pig.
What? Where did that come from?
Is a cryptid that lurks beneath Harrington Lake, just south of Lexington.
Interesting.
And what I think is interesting about this is it's a hybrid of an eel with a pig. Another one that I can't even like picture what the fuck that would look like.
I'm imagining front of pig with pig arms and rest eel body.
But it was
Fucked up.
It was first seen by a University of Kentucky professor. So I think that lends some credibility to this
Professor
story.
in what? Does it not say? That's the real question. Because if it's a fucking like English professor or some shit like that, not valid.
He was the former director of libraries and classics professor. That sounds pretty good.
That sounds
to
like
me.
a pretty educated person to me.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
There's some credibility there.
What else we got on this list of yours, Louis?
This will be the last one I do because
Got you.
I'm saving the best for last. So I don't know if this one has a name, but there is a octopus that lives in Kentucky. And he chills in fresh water, which no octopus chills in fresh water.
Yeah.
So this would be the only octopus chilling in fresh
In the middle
water.
of Kentucky. That's so random.
So the incident occurred in 1944 in the Kentucky River near Boonesboro Beach, and a 10-year-old girl was grabbed by something while swimming in the water, and once free and back on shore, quote, had several circular quarter-sized
Yeah, like
abrasions
sucker
on
marks.
her legs.
That's wild. That's actually kind of wild.
Farmers up and down the river also began reporting missing livestock. Most were never found, but the ones that were found were floating in the middle of the river.
Livestock that went and got ate by this fucking mysterious octopus creature.
Can you imagine like an octopus like crawling out of the water to get the livestock? That's kind of funny
Bro,
to me.
no. I imagine the livestock going to the water to drink
Yeah.
and getting got at the shoreline. Louis, just imagine you're swimming and you feel something grab your fucking leg like that.
That's scary as hell.
That's fucked. I would not know how to react in that situation.
I'd never get in the fucking lake again.
True. Very true.
But
Permanently scared of water at that point.
it's scary enough getting fucking nibbled on by the fishies. That's already too much for me, to be honest.
Sometimes, yeah. I hear.
You want to know my real world cryptid example?
Hmm.
So, my dad grew up in this little town in North Dakota where there obviously isn't an airport. So we were having like a family reunion thing.
Yeah.
And he went to go pick up my cousin, and coming back, they both had this crazy story that running on the side of the road, like faster than their car, was an emu that had the head of a snuffleupagus.
What do you mean the head of a... What
That's
did
what
you
they
just say
said.
to me? What did you just say to me?
I want to lend no credibility to this story. But both of them swear up and down that it fucking happened. My dad wasn't as convinced about the head of the snuffleupagus part.
Oh my god.
But my cousin definitely thought that it was the head of a snuffleupagus. And she could just be fucking playing with us.
Wait a minute.
Snuffleupagus.
Bro.
Now imagine an emu
Mr.
with the head of a
Snuffleupagus is from fucking Sesame Street, and it's a fucking woolly mammoth.
It's a fucking cryptid. A new cryptid just dropped, boys.
Oh my god. On the body of an emu. Oh my god. Bro, that's a little too fucked for me. If I just saw a fucking Muppet run by the car, disembodied on the head of a giant bird.
You're looking particularly Muppety today. I think we should cut it.
I think we've gone too far with the Snuffleupagus.
I think that was the line, wasn't it? Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for sticking around this long.
Thank you guys for getting spooky with us. And
It was a fun one.
yeah, show some support for us scaring our own asses off by being here. And who knows, next year we might do something even crazier,
Even
and
more
stupider.
wild.
Have a safe Halloween.
Yeah.
Make sure to check the candy when you get it.
Never know what you'll find.
Fun fact about that, I don't know if I ever told you this, but the urban legend of this serial killer that put shit in people's candies, that idea came from like a real life case. But the real life case was that this one dude gave tainted candy to his own son.
Ooh.
Because he was trying to kill him and cash out his life insurance policy. Isn't that fucked up?
Hell no. Yeah, that is fucked up.
But yeah, that's where that urban legend comes from. That's the last tidbit I'll leave you all with. If you're going on the trestle to see the Pope Lick Monster, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because you'll get hit by a train.
That's just how that one goes. That's how they get you.
Be safe. Don't do anything stupid.
Don't do anything we wouldn't do.